They call it the Blackout Storm. And right now, the world's wealthiest are building secret fortresses far from civilization, preparing for something you were never meant to know. No news outlet will report it. No government will warn you. But in private, billionaires are buying remote land, digging underground vaults, and moving their wealth into places you'll never see. Why? Because they know what's coming. This isn't a simple power outage. It's not just a storm. It's a silent chain reaction that could erase everything you thought was safe. And the most chilling part? The countdown may have already started. What exactly is the Blackout Storm, and why are they preparing in silence?
They never say it in public, not in interviews, not in speeches, but in private rooms where phones are left outside and cameras are disabled. The world's wealthiest whisper about something they call the Blackout Storm. It's not a rumor, it's a code name, a shadow of a plan that moves between encrypted servers, closed-door summits, and conversations where even the walls feel like they're listening. The first trace surfaced in 2018. A memo from a private security firm appeared online for less than 24 hours before it was erased. The document was almost entirely blacked out. Only 3 words escaped censorship: supply chain collapse, energy grid instability, population unrest. Most dismissed it. They didn't. That same year, the first moves began, quiet, calculated, invisible to most. Urban penthouses were sold through shell companies. Vast remote lands were bought under obscure names. Properties appeared in locations where survival, not luxury, was the priority. The frozen edges of Alaska, the volcanic plateaus of Iceland, the rugged mountains of New Zealand. And they didn't stop there. Satellite imagery started revealing patterns no news agency cared to report. Airstrips with no registered flights, hangars rising in places where no one lived, roads that led to nowhere, at least nowhere visible. The shelters being built weren't the panic rooms of the past. These were sprawling underground cities, some the size of football fields. They had their own air filtration systems, power generators, hydroponic farms capable of feeding hundreds, even luxury touches, art galleries, theaters, wine cellars. These weren't hideouts, they were kingdoms beneath the earth. Picture this: black SUVs moving under heavy rain, headlights cutting through the fog as they vanish into forests no map dares to name. Helicopters landing on private islands, cargo being offloaded at night, steel doors sliding shut, sealing off something far more valuable than gold. While on the surface, everything looks calm. Why such urgency? Why invest billions in fortresses no one will ever see? Because for them, the Blackout Storm is not just a possibility, it's a deadline. After 2018, the moves escalated. By 2020, the number of private satellite launches tripled, with new constellations mapping the Earth in ways no government disclosed. By 2021, encrypted microgrids, energy networks invisible to the public, began testing across remote sites. In 2023, a fund with no traceable owners acquired thousands of acres around freshwater reserves in South America, Africa, and Eastern Europe. No official explanation was given. Every piece fits a pattern. Every move points to a storm you're not supposed to see coming. And here's the thought they hope you never ask yourself. If they are securing food, water, and power while telling you everything is under control, what is it that they know and you don't? If you're still here, you've already seen more than they'd ever allow. Spread this investigation before it disappears like the memo did. Because if the Blackout Storm is real, it's not just a storm, it's a trigger. And the trigger?
It may already be armed. Next, we'll reveal the first anomaly hidden in plain sight, a silent signal buried deep within the global power grid, blinking for years while no one dared to ask why.
The first warnings of the blackout storm didn't come from the sky. They were hidden where no one was looking, in the veins of the world's power grid. For over a century, the grid has been the silent heartbeat of civilization. It powers everything: your home, hospitals, the servers that store your money, the satellites that guide your life. It's the most critical system on Earth and the least protected. Then, in early 2019, strange patterns began to surface. Voltage spikes in multiple countries, unexpected power drops, blackouts that lasted minutes in some places, hours in others, with no clear explanation. The official reports blamed technical glitches, but behind closed doors, engineers admitted the failures didn't behave like glitches. They behaved like tests. A leaked report from a European energy authority went further. It described anomalous interference that rippled across several nations at once, almost as if someone was probing the grid. Who was probing it? No one would answer. While the public stayed in the dark, insiders noticed a pattern. Private energy companies, many with ties to secretive hedge funds and offshore investors, began pouring billions into microgrids. These are self-contained power systems, capable of running indefinitely without any connection to the main grid. The public grid was becoming fragile. Theirs was becoming untouchable. At the same time, corporations quietly abandoned traditional communication lines, shifting to encrypted satellite networks. To anyone watching, it looked like paranoia, but to those who knew, it was preparation. A new, invisible infrastructure was being built, one only the elite could access. Then came Texas, February 2021. Millions of people were left freezing without power for days. Officially, it was extreme weather. But during the blackout, analysts detected an unusual surge of data routed through a private satellite cluster owned by a tech billionaire. While millions sat in the dark, someone was transmitting something. No one knows what. This wasn't an isolated case. Japan, 2022. An energy hub went offline for 18 minutes. The report? Classified. Germany, 2023. Unexplained fluctuations around sensitive military grids. And each time, new private power facilities quietly appeared in the aftermath, untouched by the chaos. The pattern is undeniable. While your grid crumbles, theirs is reinforced. While your lights go out, theirs stay on. Picture the moment the main grid finally collapses. Cities choking in darkness, hospitals running on fumes, markets freezing, panic spreading faster than any storm. And far away, behind fences and encrypted gates, compounds remain fully lit, self-sufficient, isolated, and guarded. They won't even notice the collapse you'll be living through. This isn't survival, it's control. If you're connecting these dots, you're already ahead of 99% of people. Stay close, subscribe so you don't miss the next piece of this puzzle. The more of us who know, the harder it becomes for them to bury the truth. Because the blackout storm isn't random, it's being shaped step by step by the ones who stand to gain the most. They're already living in a world where they decide who stays in the light and who is left in the dark. Next, we follow the money, uncovering the secret investments that reveal exactly where the elite expect the collapse to hit first.
Follow the money. It always tells the story no one dares to say out loud. Every crisis leaves a signature, a hidden pattern carved into financial records. The blackout storm is no exception. The first clues were buried in obscure transactions no journalist bothered to track. From 2019 to 2022, billions slipped through unlisted funds, avoiding every form of public scrutiny. These funds weren't chasing technology or luxury real estate. They were quietly buying assets that matter only when everything else fails. Farmland with underground aquifers, lithium and rare earth mines, private energy storage megastructures, and companies controlling water purification at scale. Why these specific targets? Because when the lights go out, whoever controls energy, water, and food doesn't just survive, they rule. Digging deeper, a darker pattern emerged. Certain hedge funds began acquiring stakes in obscure infrastructure operators, companies no one has heard of, yet they run the substations, pipelines, and data centers that keep modern life breathing. These names never make headlines, but they hold the switches that can turn a city on or off. Consider this. In 2021, a Luxembourg-based firm quietly took control of 3 regional power operators in Eastern Europe. Months later, unexplained blackouts swept through those regions. Coincidence or a rehearsal? At the same time, billionaires with spotless public images were moving assets offshore, funneled through trusts so complex they became invisible. Some of these trusts acquired entire freshwater basins in Chile, New Zealand, and Canada. Others funded solar farms and battery plants in locations no satellite openly maps, facilities designed to run off-grid for decades. And then, the telltale sign. Private security contracts spiked. Remote installations, seemingly empty, were suddenly guarded by ex-military teams and surrounded by layers of surveillance. To the outside eye, they're just empty land. To insiders, they're vaults holding the keys to the future. This flow of money isn't scattered, it's deliberate, converging like rivers into a single reservoir, a world where the essentials of survival are privatized, locked away, and controlled by a few hands. Behind this visible layer lies something even more unsettling. Front companies tied to defense contractors, intelligence-linked banks, and shadow networks of capital that never appear on paper. These entities do not gamble. They only move when the outcome is already known. Ask yourself this: why are the wealthiest people on Earth betting against the very system that made them rich? What truth about the Blackout Storm do they have that you don't? Because the money is screaming louder than any warning. It's telling us the collapse is not only expected, it's already been accounted for. Next, we unlock the most guarded file yet, the evidence pointing to a single event, the exact trigger designed to unleash the storm. Everything until now has been fragments, whispers hidden in redacted reports, movements buried under layers of secrecy, and investments disguised as harmless coincidences. But every puzzle, no matter how complex, ends with the final piece. For the Blackout Storm, that piece is the trigger. For years, experts argued over what could bring the storm. Some swore it would be a cyber attack. Others blamed climate disasters or the collapse of global markets. They were all looking in the wrong direction. The truth isn't about chaos emerging naturally. It's about control. A single engineered event so precise that it only needs seconds to break the world. In 2022, a classified defense report leaked briefly before being wiped from every database. Buried within the technical jargon, one line stood out like a knife in the dark. Simultaneous disruption of 3 nodes results in irreversible cascade. 3 nodes. No coordinates, no explanation, but cybersecurity specialists who intercepted the report understood its meaning instantly. The global grid, the nervous system of our civilization, isn't as resilient as we've been told. It runs on fragile connections. Target the right ones at the exact moment, and the collapse doesn't spread slowly. It detonates. Why build a world this vulnerable? Because fragility can be weaponized. Whoever controls the weak points controls the entire system. And suddenly, everything uncovered in the previous files fits together with terrifying clarity. The so-called glitches in the grid? Rehearsals. The billions flowing into private energy, food, and water. Defenses. The underground sanctuaries scattered across the globe. Escape pods waiting for the countdown to hit 0. Then came the final, most damning piece. Satellite photos, leaked once, seen by few, then scrubbed from every corner of the web. They showed structures emerging in places no map names, deserts scorched by heat, frozen plateaus where no one dares to live. No national flag flies over them. No corporation admits to owning them. Surrounded by no-fly zones, guarded by ex-military forces, shielded with technology decades ahead of anything public. Experts who analyzed the images all said the same thing. These are not defenses. They are control points. Now imagine the moment they're used. 3 silent switches triggered in a sequence no one can detect or stop. Within minutes, power grids buckle. Cities choke in darkness. Airports freeze mid-landing. Stock exchanges fall silent. The internet fractures. The world as you know it ends, not with noise, but with a flick of a switch. And while chaos spreads like wildfire, far away, behind walls of steel and miles of isolation, compounds remain lit. Their generators hum. Their systems run flawlessly. Inside, the few who plan this sip wine as they watch the rest of the planet descend into silence. This isn't a storm to survive. It's a reset button. A system designed to fail so they can rebuild it from the ashes, in their image, under their rules. The Blackout Storm isn't a warning. It's a blueprint. And those who designed it have already chosen which side of the collapse they'll stand on. You were never meant to know this, but now you do. So the question is no longer if, it's when. And when the trigger is finally pulled, where will you be standing?
This is where the trail ends. No more files, no more leaks. The pieces fit together now, too perfectly to ignore. While we were busy living our ordinary lives, they were building fortresses, stockpiling power, and securing everything that matters when the world breaks. They know the storm is coming because they're the ones shaping it. And when the trigger is finally pulled, don't expect warnings. There will be no sirens, no headlines, just silence and darkness. Out there, beyond the reach of chaos, a few isolated compounds will glow like ghostly islands. Inside, the elite will watch the world collapse from behind walls you'll never see. They were always 10 steps ahead. We were never meant to catch up. That's the secret they never wanted you to hear. Now you know. Blast if this investigation opened your eyes, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm this truth must spread. And subscribe to Bull Secrets, because this storm is only beginning, and the next leak is already on its way. Transmission ends.